Welcome back to the Week 14 edition of my weekly NFL Pick'em. We're down to the last 3 of these for the regular season, guys and girls. And what a weird week in the NFL, from the Cowboys shutting down the best team in the NFL for 60 minutes to the Jaguars shutting out the Colts, and then the off-field stuff with Kareem Hunt. I'm not even going to give the Kareem Hunt stuff any more attention than it deserves, because the NFL has completely failed when disciplining guys for domestic violence and handling this situation since like the beginning of time. But the NFL fining Ezekiel Elliott $13,000 for putting $21 in the Salvation Army bucket is what's wrong with the old heads making decisions for the NFL right now. If they needed to fine him at all, they should have matched the fine to make it $21,000 in total and donate that to the Salvation Army in his name. But no, the NFL is a PR nightmare, so it's no surprise that they don't take advantage of moments like this. Let me hop off this soapbox and let's get back to the actual football that was played last week. How about that Chargers versus Steelers game on Sunday Night Football? Even though I picked against them in this game, you guys know I've been hyping up the Chargers all season, and I think that it was huge for them that they were able to win this shootout without their best offensive weapon. But I think you saw that it's not just Melvin Gordon putting in work in the running game, and that offensive line is playing really well these days, especially after a time when the Chargers offensive line was one of the worst in the league. And it was nice to see Keenan Allen getting some national respect. Dude's been playing like this for years, but you get injured a couple times and everybody assumes you're just a guy now. I also came across this tweet from my Twitter buddy Russell Baxter right before the Sunday Night Football game, and at first I was confused as to what he was trying to say with these numbers, but then I realized he's showing the slow start that all these division leaders got off to. I think that with the limited contact practices the teams get these days during training camp and OTAs means that it takes a little longer for teams to hit that midseason form, and here we are in week 14 and these teams are only just now peaking. Hopefully that means we'll get the best football in the playoffs this year. But yeah, maybe I'm the only one that found this interesting, but I just figured I'd share it with you guys. While the top teams in the NFL are hitting their stride, the NFL refs most certainly have not been. It's a shame because the 2 best games of the week were both primetime games with absolutely horrendous officiating. I really wish I had some answers for you guys and girls, but I just don't have any. I'm quick to call conspiracy because I understand the NFL is a business and all, but then the refs contradict this theory with another bad call going against the other team 2 minutes later. The only explanation is these guys are just bad at their job. There is a lot going on in a football game, and we at home can usually see the best angle of a play just seconds after it happens, so I get it. It's not an easy job, but the NFL told us that these guys on Thursday Night Football were their best refs. It's just crazy to me that the best sport in the world also has the worst refs in pro sports. Alright, enough of that. Let's talk about how you guys did with your picks last week. Here are the top picks from week 13 with Tex DC in the top spot. And these are the leading entries so far in this Pick'em Challenge, with my man Willie D jumping up to the top spot. Congratulations, man. I dropped 4 spots to 78th overall after another rough week where I didn't really give a chance to many of these teams that I feel like have been left for dead. Since I'm pretty much one of those teams myself in this Pick'em Challenge, I'm actually going to switch up my picks a little bit. I'm going to pick these games with a little bit more heart than I have been with my head, and I'm going to give some of these underdogs a real chance. Oh, and hey, special shout out to you guys. The overall views for these Pick'em videos have dropped off slightly because, I don't know, people are either bored with making NFL picks by now in the season, or they're no longer in the running in their office pools, and so they just given up trying. I don't know, but I do know that you guys are legends for still watching this and helping me out by hitting that like button, because we still hit our goal last week, so I really appreciate the support. The goal is 500 again this week, so I hope you will all help me continue to grow this channel as we head into the playoffs and the off season. And of course, I will keep this going for the playoffs, so I hope you guys will subscribe so you can be a part of it. I'll probably be giving another NFL Shop gift card away for that one too. But enough of that, let's get into week 14. On Thursday Night Football, we've got Jaguars at Titans. Don't underestimate what the Jaguars just did to one of the better teams in the AFC. Shutting out the Colts is easily their best defensive performance of the season, and they managed to win a game where their offense only put up 6 points. And then the Titans did exactly what I expected them to do last week, continue to play down to their competition. Titans still managed to win, but it wasn't really a confidence builder for me. This game is going to look ugly to a lot of people on Thursday, but there's going to be some really good defense being played. The problem is that these crappy offenses are going to get blamed for a low scoring game and not the credit given to the defense. I honestly wouldn't be shocked if only 3 points were scored in this game. I'm sure that's not going to happen, but when it comes down to it, I'm not putting any faith in Cody Kessler and this Jaguars offense to score more than the Titans. Titans win 17-9. Jets at Bills, and here we have the AFC East Basement Bowl. This is actually a big game. The winner doesn't have to be the worst team in the division, while the loser gets closer to locking up that top 5 draft pick. The Jets have been smart and have not rushed Sam Darnold back into the lineup. He might return this week, which would be a good chance to get a look at a divisional foe he'll be playing against for the next decade or so, but the same goes for Josh Allen, who's already back from his rookie injury with a few games under his belt. Zay Jones and the breakout of Robert Foster has made this vertical passing game much better for the Bills offensive lately. Bills win 24-17. Panthers at Browns. The Panthers were rolling to an NFC wildcard spot a month ago, but after losing 4 straight, they fired some of their defensive coaches to shake things up a little. I'm not even entirely sure what's wrong with this team though right now. It's like they put it into cruise control at midseason and just haven't looked back. The Browns had been much better since moving on from Hugh Jackson until last week against the Texans, but I think that they just ran into a damn good football team that is firing on all cylinders, both offensively and defensively. I really didn't think the Panthers would lose 4 straight, but now that they have, it feels like it's just a downward spiral that's not going to stop, especially against a young, hungry squad like the Browns. Browns win 24-21. Falcons at Packers. If I had to give this game a bowl name in honor of bowl season upon us, I'd have to call it the What Could Have Been Bowl. What kind of season could these teams have had under different circumstances? If the Falcons didn't get slaughtered with injuries, if Aaron Rodgers didn't quit on Mike McCarthy. Both teams are basically playing for pride now, and this is where things get difficult to predict. The Falcons got shut down by a good defense last week, and that seems to be a trend with Matt Ryan. He really does struggle against a good defense, but they're not really facing a good one this week. The problem is that they're also not the same offense on the road, and the Packers are typically much better at home than they showed last week. I'm going to go Packers win 28-23. Colts at Texans. The Colts really dropped the ball last week against the Jaguars. That was one of the easiest games remaining on their schedule, and now their best chance at the playoffs would have to be making the wild card. It would take an epic collapse by the Texans to hand over this division, even if they lost this game with the Colts. They've now won 9 straight after starting 3-0 and are legit AFC Super Bowl contenders. I don't see the Texans letting go of this grip on the division at this point, but I do think it's going to be a close game, and they're going to sort of take the Texans to the wire again. Texans win 35-34. Ravens at Chiefs. The Ravens are now 3-0 in the Lamar Jackson era and are only a half game back from the Steelers in the AFC North. Their defense is playing at a high level and just in time for the Chiefs' explosive offense to come up on their schedule. This will be the first real game without Kareem Hunt since the Chiefs just got a nice preseason matchup with the Raiders in their first game without him. I don't think it's coincidence that their first game without Hunt that the Chiefs defense gave up 33 points to one of the worst offenses in the league. With a more consistent running game, the Chiefs could have probably extended some of their late drives and milked some more of the clock. I think this is a scary matchup for the Chiefs. Arrowhead is one of the hardest places to play, I know, especially for a rookie quarterback, but I think that this game is going to be decided on the other side of the ball with strength versus strength. Can the Ravens' #1 defense slow down the Chiefs' #3 offense? Without a reliable running game, I think Andy Reid reverts back to his old days of ignoring the running backs, and I think that hurts the team in the long run. Ravens win 28-24. Patriots at Dolphins. The Patriots are heading down to Miami late in the season. This is always a fun scenario for the guys in the He-Man Patriots Hater Club because I can remember personally quite a few upsets by the Dolphins during the Brady Belichick era, even dating back to the Jay Fiedler days. Who remembers that guy? The Patriots have been really good at home this year, but they've struggled uncharacteristically on the road. The Dolphins are not technically eliminated from the playoffs, and I think that this one's setting them up for the upset here. Dolphins win 24-23. Saints at Buccaneers. The Saints had an extra few days to sit on that Thursday Night Football loss to the Cowboys, and you could see in the Saints' eyes that they didn't know what hit them early on in that game, and the Cowboys defense didn't let up. I think that they've provided the league with a nice updated scouting report on how to challenge Drew Brees in the pocket, and the Buccaneers might actually have the personnel to put some pressure on the Saints offensive line, a unit that has been the best offensive line in the NFL this year despite the down week against the Cowboys. I bet you think that now I'm going to go ahead and pick 3 upsets in a row. Well, I'm not. The Buccaneers caught the Panthers slipping, and some guy named Andrew Adams had a career day on defense with 3 interceptions. I don't expect them to make it back-to-back losses for the Saints. In fact, I think that the Saints getting their reality check at this point in the season could end up being a positive thing for them because now there's not a league-leading winning streak hanging over their head, and it's going to allow them to really just focus on the task at hand. Saints win 38-21. Giants at Redskins. The Giants have really showed some signs of life here lately. Those signs have probably cost them a slot in the top 5 of the NFL draft, but that's something to worry about in the future. It's actually good to see Eli Manning go out with some success after a couple bad seasons here or there, even if he's no longer the Giants' best quarterback. And hey, don't blame me for putting the jinx on Colt McCoy because this was a freak injury, but nonetheless, it's the nail in the coffin for the Redskins season. Mark Sanchez is now their quarterback for the near future and possibly the remainder of the season. The Redskins defense is going to have to carry this team even more than they already have, but it seems like they're getting worn down, and without an offense that can keep them off the field for long stretches at a time, it's really unlikely that they return to their early season form. Giants win 28-13. Bengals at Chargers. AJ Green re-aggravated his toe injury in an attempt to be a good teammate and come back even though Andy Dalton's gone for the season, but now it's time to shut him down for the season and focus on getting these young wide receiver prospects some reps. The Chargers are coming off their biggest win of the season, and now their chance to overtake the Chiefs in the AFC West is a legit possibility moving forward, but they have got to handle their business in a game like this. There's a huge Thursday Night Football matchup with the Chiefs 4 days after this game, so they can't let this be a trap game. The Bengals literally have the 32nd ranked defense, so the opportunity is there for this to be a blowout. Chargers win 35-17. Broncos at 49ers. The Broncos had the fortune of playing the Bengals in their first game without their starting quarterback last week, and now they get the 49ers, who are on their third quarterback of the season. Losing cornerback Chris Harris is a big deal for them, but this pass rush should take the pressure off the younger defensive backs, and Harris might actually be able to come back this season if it's worth the effort. Basically what I mean by that is if the Broncos are in the playoffs or looking at a playoff potential spot, you could see Harris to attempt to come back, but if they lose any more of these games, they might just shut him down for the year. The 49ers were officially eliminated from the playoffs last week, and their efforts to secure the first overall pick have been nothing short of amazing. They made sure that there was no offensive rhythm until the loss against the Seahawks was secured, and then they opened it up for rookie wide receiver Dante Pettis to have a breakout performance back in his old college stomping grounds. I love it, and I can't wait to see what they do with this number 1 overall pick. It's going to go a long way to shaping the 49ers future. I did a breakdown of Nick Bosa recently, and that's who I would take if I were the 49ers, so go check that out when you're done here. Long story short, this could be an easy win for the Broncos. Broncos win 24-13. Lions at Cardinals. So I've never done this whole weekly NFL pick'em thing like this before, and having to try to analyze the outcome of these games that have almost no impact on the current season is actually really difficult. And I also never realized how many pointless games take place late in the season. We're only at week 14, it seems like half of the games just don't matter. But anyways, both of these teams are still out here trying to win games. Well, which one's actually better? The Lions just held their own with a Super Bowl contender for 3.5 quarters, and then the Cardinals went into Lambeau and got the Packers head coach fired. Even though this game doesn't matter, I gotta say this might be the hardest game of the week to predict. I'm going to give the benefit of the doubt to the Cardinals at home. I just think that they're playing harder, and I think that Byron Leftwich is doing a good job calling plays for them. Cardinals win 33-28. Eagles at Cowboys. Here's a big one. The NFC East is on the line, and the winner of this game will have the advantage moving forward, even though the Cowboys will still technically be in first place. The Eagles haven't been very impressive, and I can't remember a year when a defending Super Bowl champ had this big of a drop-off the following season. The Eagles got lucky with their schedule, and they didn't face the Redskins until they were on their second and now third quarterbacks, which was a very lucky situation, and then they have them again at the very end of the year, which could be a gimme game for them, but the other 3 games that they have are going to be tough. The Cowboys are coming off their best defensive performance of the season. I think it's time to give the defense a little bit more credit. This is an elite unit, and they proved it by holding the best offense in football to 10 points, and 7 of which were kind of gifted by penalties extending a drive multiple times. The Eagles defense isn't shutting down the run like the Saints is, so I expect the Cowboys running game to continue to fuel their success. Cowboys win 21-17. Steelers at Raiders. The Steelers probably needed a matchup like this following their loss to the Chargers in Pittsburgh on Sunday night. The Ravens are nipping at their heels in the AFC North, and they don't have the easiest path to winning the division. With the dreaded Patriots up next, this has the makings of a trap game for the Steelers. The Raiders lucked out with the Cardinals winning a game. Because of that, bumped them up to the number 2 spot again in the NFL draft for now, right behind the 49ers. Sad times for the Bay, but hey, at least you guys have the Warriors, so stop complaining. I actually wouldn't be surprised if the Raiders play them really close throughout this game, especially with James Conner out with that injury, and that the Steelers will have to win yet another close game in the end. Steelers win 31-24. Alright, at least we get to finish off the weekend with some good NFC matchups that have playoff preview potential in them. On Sunday Night Football, we've got Rams at Bears. In this one, we'll have either Khalil Mack or Aaron Donald on the field on every single drive, so at least this game has that going for it. The Bears have had Mitch Trubisky on ice since Thanksgiving, just waiting for this game. I haven't heard anything official, but I really think Trubisky plays this week. It's just too big of a game for the Bears, and they're going to need more efficient passing attack than what Chase Daniel has been providing. The Rams are one of the best teams in the NFL, and they're going to have their hands full with this Bears team. The Bears haven't even had a chance like this to show their full potential yet, and those California boys are going to be in that cold, wintry Chicago night air. I don't know, I like this challenge for the Bears because they are a young and up-and-coming squad that's really built to be good for the next few seasons, but I like this challenge even more for the Rams because I think they have a legit shot at the Super Bowl this year, and this is the type of game that gives you the confidence to go into a hostile environment and win on the road because they're not a lock to win home field advantage throughout the playoffs. Rams win 23-20. And then on Monday Night Football, we've got Vikings at Seahawks. By now, you guys also know the Vikings were another one of my teams to watch going into this year, and they've been a bit of a disappointment so far. On paper, this looked like a contending team in the NFC, and other than that Bills game, they've pretty much won every game that they were supposed to win. The problem is that they've lost to all the good teams on their schedule: the Rams, Saints, Patriots, the Bears. On the other side, the Saints have overachieved in my opinion, but that's what can happen when you've got a guy like Russell Wilson just carrying the offense. They're also going to get Michael Kendricks back this week after he served his 8-game suspension. He'll likely be a key piece in making a run for one of these wildcard spots moving forward. I usually like to lean towards the home teams. You guys know this, especially in primetime games, but I think we have a weird week where both the road teams are going to win on Sunday and Monday night. Vikings win 28-23. And that's going to do it for my week 14 picks, guys. Thanks for watching, commenting, subscribing, all that good stuff. Remember, we're trying to reach the goal of 500 likes. So if you enjoyed this video, help a guy out, hit that like button on your way out. Also, don't forget to check out my Nick Bosa scouting report. I'm working on a couple other players in mind to do next, but please let me know if there's anyone you want to see a breakdown of in the comments. Thank you for being one of the legends that stays to the end, and I will see you in the next video.